Good morning. Thank you guys for tuning in to my YouTube always and for subscribing. This video is actually a little different in nature than most of my videos. Although it will be informational, it's a little less about nature and the culture than it is, this is going to be more focused on safety. So occasionally I get emails from the U.S. Embassy in San Jose. I believe I signed up for it with the Smart Traveler program, but also when I started working on my residency, I think they signed me up for this and they send me updates. But this one was actually something that I found very important and pertinent to share to my YouTube subscribers or anybody that might be traveling to Costa Rica that comes across my videos. It's a list of things to do to keep yourself safe if you ever find yourself in a troubling situation or you feel like you're in an unsafe kind of Airbnb space, which I've heard often from people, or you show up in a city like Jaco or Uvita when there's a lot of parties and maybe someone steals something from you, or you feel like you're being threatened or your life is at risk. Although it's not a huge issue in Costa Rica, it's becoming a bigger issue around the world. Obviously, more prevalent that people are violent towards each other and not trying to understand each other. So I did want to share this. It's not all light and butterflies. As much as it is much of the time here, there are still dangers in Costa Rica, and I wanted to warn some of you about that. And since the experts are sending me well-researched and well-written things, I'm just going to share what the embassy sent me. It starts off, the U.S. Embassy in Costa Rica advises U.S. citizens of increasing levels of crime, particularly violent crime, in Costa Rica, specifically in San Jose. So if you're in a city, it's going to be much worse, but it does travel elsewhere. The embassy would like to remind you of the importance of personal safety and situational awareness. For your safety, please follow these important recommendations. Actions to take. I'm just going to list them out. When in a public area, remain alert and vigilant. Pay particular attention when transitioning or transiting into an unknown area, such as going in or out of a store. Who's watching you? Who might be watching you and observing, your moves? Just be aware. Stay alert to your surroundings. Leave the area if you do not feel safe. Maintain a low profile in public and avoid going out alone, especially after dark. Obviously, don't do what I do, and I say this in every video when I'm hitchhiking and when I'm wandering around alone. I put disclaimers. This is because I'm an experienced, strong, larger male that can defend myself confidently. Do not make a scene around yourself, make yourself seem like a potential victim, especially if you might not have traditional boxing, Muay Thai, self-defense, jiu-jitsu, kung fu skills in your gamut. Don't be overconfident. Weapons can quickly change a situation. I grew up in northern New Jersey, New York City, and as tough as everybody thought they were, the moment a knife or a gun came out, they weren't tough anymore. So it's the same thing here. Avoid excessive jewelry, electronics, and carrying and flashing around large sums of money. Specifically, when you go to the ATM, don't walk out of the booth without putting your money away first. Don't come out like counting stacks of your money that you just withdrew, which I see all the time here. Even Tico's doing this. This is not smart. Somebody will follow you home and take that money from you, or they might not even follow you home. They might follow you a block down the street and take it. So be careful, be smart. Be prepared to enter your vehicle quickly when walking through parking lots. Stay clear of areas that might conceal danger. Darker areas, unlit places. On to the next one. Avoid walking alone in the streets at night. If this is not possible, walk in groups of 2 or more. Ask random people if you can walk with them. Walk in well-lit areas. Don't put yourself into a space where there's low visibility. It's obviously not smart. Alert a close family member or a friend if you plan to travel, and leave your contact information with them. Now, this is actually a super pertinent one. I'm going to sit on this for a minute. Women and men, if you're going on dates here, tell somebody where you're going. Tell them that when you arrive there, you're going to confirm that you arrived safe and that the person is trustworthy. Tell the person you're meeting that this is part of what you do. Like, you want to be sure you're safe, and if they are a person who has your well-being in mind, like women have come here to hang out with me before just as friends, but they've confirmed with their girlfriends or their family members that they arrived safely and everything's cool. At some times I've even been willing, just open and willing to speak to the person and let them know exactly who I am and drop a location and all that stuff. So wherever you go, drop your location to a trusted friend. And I'm going to get to some resources in a moment that you can use if you really feel in trouble and threatened and your friends are too far to help you, or family. So when leaving your home, make sure you lock all your doors, windows. If you have an alarm, activate that, or cameras, turn them on. Again, I've actually had this situation happen to me where a former set of neighbors were calling the former owners of the house here when I was leaving the house, whether I was going on a trip somewhere, I was just going to town, and like clockwork, I would see the former owners of the house while I was on the bus going to town, driving the opposite direction, and I would come home to find out that they had come to my property when I wasn't here and stole a bunch of stuff. And my neighbors at the time were accomplices to that, and they were actually helping them, which is absurd because these people were all like smiles and kindness to me, and then I put two and two together that as I was leaving they were calling them and then they were coming every time. I was like, there's no way this is a coincidence, and I confronted them about it, and a day later they moved out of the house further down into the neighborhood, because what I found out was they weren't paying for the house, they were like squatting on it for a family member. So yeah, anyway, I thought they were nice people, but they were conspiring to have things stolen from me for no reason. They didn't even know me, so you never know who's smiling in your face and who's looking to rob you when you turn around. So it does happen. I have experience with that. I can vouch for that one. When you're driving, make sure you lock your doors, and that's while driving because there's lots of stoppages. The highways are small. There's not like streaming highways here. So if somebody sees you and they think you might have money, and they're behind you in traffic or in front of you in traffic, they might strategize it. They'll just jump out, rob you out of your car, and take off, and it's Costa Rica. You don't know where they're going. You don't know how to follow them. It's a disadvantageous situation for an immigrant, so be aware of that as well. That's why I don't have a car. I don't have to worry about that. Smash and grabs do occur in Costa Rica, so even in your locked car by a beach. Typically this happens by beach communities. I know around here Estoril sometimes has a problem with this because it's if you've ever been to Estoril, the beach area, there's like windy roads and you pass through a couple local neighborhoods to get to the beach. So these are locals that really don't have a lot of money some of the time, watching all these fancy cars come into the beach and these people go have fun for a few hours on the beach. So they're just gonna bust in the window and take all the stuff that they can and walk a couple hundred meters away to their house and hide out because tourists aren't going to do anything about it, and people depend on insurance and all this different stuff and so on. So it does happen. Just be aware. I've had this happen to friends, even Ticos it's happened to. So, just that's something to be very aware of, and do some research. Wherever you're going, look up, are there ever robberies near the beach in this town? And if it says so, just be extra diligent. Doesn't mean don't go there. It just means be smart. And, there's a lot of ways. I feel like I have some extra techniques being from northern New Jersey, New York City area to make sure people don't fuck with you just by a look you give them or an energy you put off. Because up in that area, everybody's trying to get one over on somebody else. Friends, family, employees, they're always trying to get one over on the people close to them, which is weird. So you just have to put out a vibe like, if you do that to me, it's not going to work out for you. And people read energy much more intensely and acutely here. So I've never been robbed in that sense, but I've had these sneaky fuckers like try to do that stuff until I had to say, hey, listen, I'm gonna call the police on you and you guys are gonna go to jail for this, and they can investigate it. It's not a personal thing. This is, you've taken it to the next level, and they stopped coming back after the police were involved. That said, if you are a victim of a crime, contact the Costa Rican Emergency Services at 911. It's the same as in the United States, or I imagine Canada or other countries. 911 is universal at this point. And this is the important part: report the crime. I'm going to read this to the Organismo de Investigación Judicial, or OIJ, as they call them. It's the like FBI here in Costa Rica. So they'll really investigate stuff. The police will just take a report, just like in the United States. And if it seems like something they're not going to catch the person or they can't really pursue any further, they've got more, dire matters that they have to handle, direct things like violent crimes and such. But in my situation, I contacted these people. I said, listen, I know what's been happening. You can't come back to this property legally anymore. What you've been doing has been just straight up theft, which I know no matter what country you're in, you are going to go to jail if you get prosecuted for this. You guys need to stop. I already have a report written up with the OIJ. I did not submit it. I didn't tell them that. I just said, I have written up a report to submit to the OIJ. If I hear or see that you guys come back to my property at all, you're all being reported. The entire family, every person that's been involved in a situation is going into that report. So you're going to be taking down your friends and neighbors who thought they were helping you because you've been lying to them probably. So that number, you can go to the OIJ website. It's very easy to find. You can submit complaints on there and speak to somebody. But if you want to call them directly, it's area code or country code 506, the Costa Rican number, and then it's 2295 3000. That's 2295 3000, and that's the OIJ. If you want to or need to contact the embassy and you're in Costa Rica, their number is 506 2519 2000. That's 2519 2000 for the U.S. Embassy. And again, for the OIJ, if you guys are ever in trouble, it's 506 2295 3000. And that's the FBI. Those are the ones that are really going to help you and get things done. And they're probably already familiar with these people that you might be reporting, because it seems, there's very few criminals in Costa Rica, and they're always repeat offenders in the system. So these families and people are well known to the OIJ, and they probably keep an eye on them already. But as far as I specifically think about, people in less capable situations than myself. So there's a large trans population here. They might need to be aware of these, emergency services a lot quicker because they might be a victim or target quicker. Females, obviously, younger females specifically who don't have the life experience. Just be aware of this stuff. These are resources that will help you big time. So hopefully this helps, and then I will be back onto my positive stuff very soon. I just wanted to put this out there because I read this email last night, and I've been traveling via the bus and interacting with a lot of interesting people over the past few months and weeks, and I think it's pertinent, so I wanted to share it. Hopefully it helps someone stay safe in the future and not be a victim of any crimes here in Costa Rica. Spread light and awareness. So have a lovely day.